Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at the Red Rock Pocket Style fender flares for 2017 and newer F-250 Super Duties. If your truck is going to spend any time off pavement, whether it be for work or recreation, if you want more space for larger wheels and tires, or if you're just looking for an added dose of style, these Pocket Style fender flares from Red Rock are going to be an excellent choice for your F-250. Now, adding a set of fender flares is a great way to update not just the look, but also the functionality of your truck. In addition to providing those rugged good looks, a set like these Pocket Style flares can also give your truck some added protection while out on the trail or on the job site. Now, if you're not familiar with the term, Pocket Style refers to these indents or pockets around the edges of the flare itself. And these usually have rivets or bolts in them. In some cases, they are functional, where they'll be used to bolt the flare to the fender of the truck. And in other cases, they're just ornamental, as they are with this option, where the bolts that go in here are not going to contact the body of the truck. And that means you don't have to drill all those holes in your F-250's fenders. Now, that's not to say that these are just for looks though. They are made from OEM grade injection molded ABS plastic, and that stuff is known for its durability and impact resistance. So if you're out on the job site or you're hitting the trail, these are going to provide some excellent protection against obstacles and impacts you may encounter. And since they're larger in height than your stock flares, they're also going to provide protection for more of the fender than you would have stock. As you can tell, obviously these are also quite a bit wider, especially in the rear, than your stock flares. So if you've got larger wheels and tires, or if you're planning to fit those a little bit down the road a bit, these are going to keep the body of your truck from getting marred up by rocks or other debris that these larger wheels and tires may kick up out on the road or trail. Now, in addition, you may have noticed that I've only got 3 pieces up here on the table, and that's just for the sake of space. So right here, I've got a front fender, a rear one, and this little piece that goes on the inside of the front fender well. So you are going to get a set for the other side as well. It means that you're going to have protection for the entire truck, both front and rear. Now, of course, you can also mount these up just as they come out of the factory with this nice matte black finish. They're pretty smooth and they look good just as they are coming right out of the box. Matte black complements any paint color pretty well too, but you also have the option to paint these. So if your build is leaning a bit more towards subtlety and you want them to be color matched, or if you like that two-tone look, you want to go for like a gray or something like that, you've got the option to paint these. Of course, you can just mount them up as they come if you're going for a bit more of that rugged off-roady type look. Now, some of our customers have painted these to match their trucks, while others have just mounted them up as you see them here, and they've shared pictures of both options. So be sure to check out the customer pictures on our site if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration. These flares are also really well reviewed by our customers with well over 100 reviews. So make sure you check out what they have to say while you're at it too. Pricing will come in at about $325 for the full set, and it's very much on the inexpensive side as far as fender flares go. And if you want something that is of good quality for a good price, it's going to work with the styling of your Super Duty, I would say that these are an excellent choice. Now, as far as installation goes, these are going to get a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter. It is going to take you some time to get these installed, figure on about 2 hours or so, but the install process is pretty straightforward. You get all new hardware included in the kit, and new weather stripping to go around the edges so you don't mar up your paint. These are also designed to bolt on using your factory flare mounting locations, though a small bit of drilling is required. And to show you exactly what's involved, here's one of our AT customers installing these on their truck.
Installation, have a utility knife and an X-Acto knife, just depending on which one will be easier. Electric drill with the socket attachment. Also have a number 2 driver for the drill, as well as a handheld 1/2-inch wrench. Also got a small socket set. It called for a 7/32 inch socket as well as a 10mm, but when I read through the step-by-step instructions, there was no 7/32 referenced, but there was a 7mm, I believe, to remove the factory bolts. So I got 7 and 10 here, so can always adjust as need be. Also calls for a grease pencil for markings. Again, in the step-by-step instructions, did not find them a reference as to where to use, but if need be, I'll get that as well. So looks like that's all I'll need. Plus the hardware also has a couple little trim tools and a Torx bit that came with the installation kit. So I've got some Red Rock fender flares. I'm going to install it on my 2017 Ford F-250 Super Duty with Power Stroke. Let's get the directions out and get everything laid out to make sure we have everything in the box. Everything's unpacked and accounted for. Instructions have been kind of looked over. One side note is all the flares are actually marked on the inside and on the packaging for which fender well they are to make installation a lot more easy. Right up there, and on the front ones as well. My Super Duty came with the factory mud flaps, so I'm gonna have to remove those prior to installation. But the first step is getting all the little nuts, putting a washer on them, putting them through the hole of all the fender flares. They provided the Torx bit, and then I'll get my 1/2-inch wrench and go through and install all of them. So ought to be fun. That washer through on the head side, right there. You can see it through the hole. And putting a little locking nut on the back. I'm gonna get them all hand tight first, just so that way they don't fall out, and then I'll move to using the drill. So using the box that was provided, packaging to hold on to my flares on, just to not scuff them up on handling them, putting in all these screws and bolts, everything. So bolt and in. I'm on there hand tight. You can see the back side of it there. And then what the fronts look like there. So if I just go all the way around all the fender flares. So some of these holes feels like they're a little bit snugger than the others. Not bad, but you can feel the threads actually, catching a little bit. Just gotta push it through. It'll get right through there though. Got interrupted, but you can see on this fender, got all the bolts in. Bolt through a washer, through the fender flare, and then I put them on hand tight on the back. Now I'm going to go through with my 1/2-inch wrench and the Torx bit with the drill. I'm going to keep it on a lower setting just to not overly tighten them, because they're for looks, not for security. Go around the edges and just to engage that lock nut that's on it. On there secure. It sounds like I got a loose one. Yep, sure do. Some more of the old boys. Give it a little shake. Okay, they're all tight. You can tell they're not wiggling anymore. So they're engaged enough to where that lock washer is flush against the back. So. All right. Now just to do it with all the others. Now all of them are done, as you can see. and making sure every one of them's got the hardware installed. Mine actually came with pretty much a complete set, and gave me one extra washer, one extra bolt, one extra nut. I guess in case you lose one or misplace or strip something, that way you've got an extra one with the kit. All right, on to the next step. So here we are again on the front passenger side fender, and my truck's got the factory installed mud flaps, so I'm going to go and take those off. And we're taking out these factory mud flaps. The screws that go into them, I'm not sure size what size that is, but it is very, very small. I just used a pair of needle knitters to loosen them, then could pull them out with my hands. Then of course, that top one up there, that top one right there is a just an Allen key. That's all you gotta do, and have to take them all out. And actually, correction with that, with this one right here, you actually turn that. There's a locking little panel, it looks like, behind it that came loose. I was able to get it out. When I get it all completely out, I'll show you what the back side looks like. So on the back side, that Allen just turns this and locks it in back up here behind the piece of trim up in here. So next thing to do is get this popped off. That's actually in the instructions. I gotta get that popped off, gotta get all this cleaned out. I'm gonna get it all really good and clean before I install the flare. All right, for the next part, I'm gonna be putting all the stripping on the edge of the fender flare that comes in contact with your truck. The adhesive part, when you peel this, actually will be in contact with the back of this. So we'll kind of go into that underside. Instructions say to go in about 1 foot long increments. I'm gonna just kind of feel it out. I don't want to get it stuck together, so if I have to go smaller, I will. And this is probably where it says when you get to the end to trim. So I'm gonna actually use a pair of really sharp kitchen scissors instead of risking stretching the stripping with the utility knife or an X-Acto knife, anything like that. Actually, if I push it on as I go, I just peel it a little bit at a time. It's actually kind of feeding itself on, instead of trying to peel and then trying to put it on, from keeping it sticking together. Just a little bit at a time, just being patient. Drop that a little bit. Okay, get it on, get it on. Make sure you squeeze that backing, because that's where that adhesive is. Yeah, definitely sticking with that method, because every time I pull the red a little bit too fast, it'll get stuck together. And then gotta kind of go back and work it on. That's kind of a pain, so I'd say you pull the red as you go, just a little at a time. Keep it feeding on there and smooth. You can maybe try and pre-get it on there a little bit, and then yeah, that's even easier. Just do that. So that way you don't worry about that adhesive getting stuck to the trim itself. So do a little bit at a time. Okay, make sure it's on. Just pull that little. I apologize, I ain't in your view. So get it through there, pinch it. Okay, working it on, working it on, working it on. And going through, and all right, had a phone call. So yeah, just keep pushing it on there, kind of getting it feed, and then just slowly, gently pulling it out, so that way it releases that adhesive. You can squeeze it on the back, and like I said, that adhesive should be on this side, pressing against the back of your fender flare, not on that side. Okay, just a little at a time. Yeah, that's definitely the easier way to do it. That way you don't have to worry about it getting stuck to itself. All the way down to that edge. Oop. See, sometimes it'll do that kind of jazz. Okay, now in this corner, I'm going to try and trim it right there. And this is why I'm going to try and do it with scissors that are sharp instead of an X-Acto knife. I don't want to stretch this. I don't want to, you know, rip half the stuff that's stuck off. Nice. Okay, yep, sharp scissors it is. And then that goes right in there. Now double check, make sure all of it's tight, smooth, and stuck to the back. Okay, so those two screws are removed because they were used to attach the factory mud flaps. There's also numerous screws inside the wheel well here. There, and there. The instructions say to remove it. It actually says to use a 7mm, but that is actually where the instructions are wrong. That's where the 7/32 comes into play. And before I start putting all this stuff in, I'm going to just use some household cleaner spray. All this and wipe it out to get it good and as clean as I can before putting anything installed. Don't want all that mud and stuff sitting in there and then covering it up. Okay. Alright, so now this is where I'm going to use the 7/32 inch socket to loosen all these screws up in here, including these two that I've already removed from the mud flap. The instructions say 7mm, but that's too large of a socket, so here we go, 7/32. There's one in here. And make sure you save these because they are used for the installation of the flare. Lots of dirt. Okay, make sure you find a good safe place to put these. Okay, next step is one of your trim pieces, come with a kit, as well as 3 of these clips to put in. Okay, one of the things it says in the instructions is, you know, the inside of these are marked as an LR or an RR, which is not actually true. You can actually see right there, it's probably reversed, but it's FR for front right, and then LR is on the other one for left, FL for front left. So there's 3 holes on this piece here, 1, 2, and 3. I put the clips on with those, with the curved side facing skyward, and then we will use that to reinstall in the middle 3 screws of the fender well that were with the screws that came from the factory. All right, so now we're going to put the fill air in. There's a screw here, here, and here. Put these little Phillips head truss screws in it. Instructions say not put them completely tight because we have to install the factory screws as well. Now I want to take the last 2 of the factory screws. Replace them in here with 7/32. As you can see, one of the flares is on. So on the rear mud flaps, you've got the Allen screw that'll loosen that piece, let it come out. Now these two on the front were actually the 7/32 hex head screws. These just have what appears to be a number 2 Phillips head. So I'm going to set up the camera and take those off of both sides on the back just to have them out of the way. Okay, so for these rear, I got the Allen key 2 screws that are number 2. Get a short one because you ain't got a whole lot of room to get that inner one with your tire on. Go. They just have these little nuts in them. That's if you, the bolts, excuse me. That's if you have the factory mud flaps. That's the way my truck came to me. So. Come on. So, got the mud flap off. The fastener that goes right here in this corner. Make sure you hold on to that because you're going to need it for the flare itself. And make sure you get it all as good as clean as you can. Now, next step, if you want to test fit this, make sure you have those strippings on it and there's no rattle in all your nuts. Now, this is where the grease pencil comes in. So, you have 4 holes. One's over here on this side. You can't see that one there. Up under here, there's one here. You need to mark roughly where it's at. Where you marked them, got one here, here, up here, up here. That's where you got to put these little mylar strips. Let's see. So this, the center, remember the 4 marks? Try and pinch it around so the backing comes off. Okay. Split about halfway. About there. It's going to protect your sheet metal. And you want to do 4 of them. Just to protect it. And just have these clips on. There's, I get a better idea of what I'm doing on that side too. Same process, just
trying kind of like a hamburger bun. And last one for this. All right. So right here, there's actually another one that we got to mark. So. Mark it. Take your trim back up. See that mark? See? Get your little Mylar tab, peel the back off. Pull that over to protect it. Alright, so now I'm gonna take some of these more of these screws, put them up through these clips. All four. Not completely tight, just tight enough to hold it. Because then we got to put one up here. It's a different size. We got to put a retainer clip back here. Go. They're a little bit hard to get started. Careful not to pinch your fingers. Alright, so for in the back one act here, actually they provide these little push retaining clips. These ones up here. So that way you don't strip them out with a drill. Alright. Hopefully the lighting's not too bad, but there's a completed product in the back. Walk up here. And a completed product in the front.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the Red Rock Pocket Style fender flares for 2017 and newer F-250 Super Duties. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, for all things F-250, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.